What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Gonna backtest today. Rare stream on Saturday night where I'm not out at the bar for the ladies, but hey, gotta put in the grind. It's really, really snowy here in Sweden right now. I don't know if you can see, but it's crazy. So roads are busy. Poker night was cancelled, so I'm here grinding. But I enjoy it. Just right. My goal today is to study a bit of lower time frame or block in the entries. And basically, I was really, really frustrated that I didn't take this entry because I was so certain about the bias, right? I was like 100% sure that the bias was going to be bullish, but then I wanted to find another 15-second order block from this one. And we didn't get it, and it bummed me off. So basically, I'm gonna try to put together a framework for like when I am a plus 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 sure of the bias. Here is how we take entry. How does checklist change? I think that's quite reasonable thing to ask myself because like up here as well, I was pretty damn sure of the bias that we were gonna sweep these lows. You can look at the live stream. I'm not just bullshitting. Um, didn't happen, right? So what can I improve? Because I can always improve. So we have this 15-second block. I guess when I'm very sure of the bias, I look at the lowest time frame order block to form. In this case, we got the order block at 15 seconds. Now, from that one, we tend to drop down in time frame. The next order block, which in this case was a 5-second order block then. Now, did we get a 5-second order block validation from this? So that would have been one. Didn't get validated. Uh, that would have been one, but we didn't come down. I mean, nah, I think people who went long there that had their stops there. Like, we literally didn't even get a 5-second order block. So, what do you do then? Becomes the question. Can we look for another PD array from the order block? I mean, that might be the play, right? In this case, what did he have? We had a 30-second order block. No, 30-second fair value gap. Ugly. Let's look at 15 seconds. Seem to be the theme here. I mean, here I like this one more because you can clearly see it's being used by smart money, right? Fair value gap up, down, break it. That then becomes a valid inverse. Still, still kind of ugly, but I think, or not ugly, but I don't like the close being so high because the rule is once you break this high again, then what is acceptable is for it to basically get a big consolidation, sweep the new internal range high, and then we would fall down below, especially when we have all these equal lows, which was a bit sus. We didn't get that now. So what do we do then? I guess one could also look at like this whole move down as another order block. And then basically you look for the next move. Do we get another order block from that move? Right here, I know this was a 5-second order block. Yet again, like 5 second. I guess that's the lead players. That's what they do. Why is this an order block? Because we get that little break there, right? And so then that would have been our entry. Appreciate you stopping by here. Oh my god, I'm not even screen sharing. Sorry, mate. There you go. So you don't just have to see my ugly face. All right. Basically, what I was looking at is we get this order block here, and we didn't get even a 5-second order block from here, right? This was a 15-second order block. Didn't even get a 5-second here. So what do we do to find the entry then? And what I'm looking at now is, do we accept we don't get it? Do we work with the inverse for value gap that we get, right? Because we get that one there. Good stop below there. Pretty big, pretty damn big stop, you know. Don't like that either. I like the extremely high risk reward. So then what I was looking at, okay, we class each down move as another order block. And so do we get another order block from the next move? That's another way to look at it. Do we get another down on the next move? And in this instance, we got this as a 5-second order block from this being a 5. Like it's tricky, but I think that's the elite level we have to move at when we're so certain of the bias and it's the only thing we get. Because still, this is still a brilliant risk reward play because we were so sure of the bias, right? It's nearly a 10. Um, so I think the formula here is when we are extremely confident about bias, we accept the lower time frame order block, even the 5-second ones if we have to. Now, something I've found interesting here studying this is like, if you look at it, there was not a single 5-second order block here that was like invalidated. We didn't get a single one. I think that tells a lot about the strength uh, of these. Like even the 5-second ones were not validated. Now, I want you to know the rule of these order blocks. If you are offside, what's typically gonna happen is it will go down, probably pretty deep, get a move up, sweep the internal range high, and then, because that's a place for smart money to unleash the position they took here, it can then legally go down again. So once you get that initial like refill, you want to be pretty aware that it could reverse on you. But if you are right in bias, it shouldn't. But it's something to be aware of. Right, let's keep studying. So the setup we got was here. This was another setup, I think. I mean, I was offside here. I'll admit that for sure. I thought, based on the initial manipulation, I thought that we were going to be bullish here. And so I was long. I took my entry down there. Was validating that inverse for value gap, stop below there. Now, what does this become? This is what's known as a propulsion block because it was fill this order block 1, order block 2, and that would be order block 3. Propulsion block. In the propulsion block, you do not want to see price post validation go down below 0.5 or equilibrium. If it does, then you might be offside because it should just boom, liquidity, fill, boom, explode. It's the propulsion block, right? The logic is the banks are positioned so they will want to run. So why would they then not run, right? So I immediately post a validation of the propulsion. You can put your stop just below break even. ICT taught this. Even though I think ICT has flaws, he has a lot of good stuff too. Boom. So we were wrong there. What could we have done differently here to catch a trade? Basically, right there, bias turns. Honestly, already there. So we can look anything below this line. This was tricky bar as well. We ain't got nothing. It was just crashing down. I mean, ICT was doing this a lot. Respect. Honestly, it always comes down to the bias. Really does. In this case, we were wrong. Ironically, even though I had made the avbrotsen. Sen sitter och krigar också på lördag kväll. Hur länge har du tradat? Fan, är dialekten så tydlig. Cool. Hur går det? Har du blivit funded? Nice, man. Det är så jävla skönt när man kommer över den där tröskeln. Ja, men det är typ som mig. Eller du lite längre än mig till och med. Jag varit första payout förra februari. Så blir det typ 10 månader. Men när man väl kommer dit, så jävla skönt faktiskt. Vad gör du nu då? Full time? Nice. Mitt mål är att bygga upp den här kanalen typ och få ett helt gäng av traders just go to Bali. I see some other people join. I'm Swedish, so Sweden chat. Basically, my goal with this channel is to build up this community of traders, go to Bali, and just enjoy life or wherever really. And I think it's because I think trading can be a bit lonely. I mean, I've traded it. Yeah, honestly, Sweden is just kind of. I was just in Australia for a couple of months. Bad thing there is time zone. I mean, I barely traded when I was in Australia because the time zone. Just enjoyed life. Yeah, it's a struggle, bro. It really is a struggle. We're based in Stockholm, in Sweden. A bit, you don't say. Oh yeah, it is. It sucks. I mean, because people think you're a lunatic. Yeah, me too, mate. We should meet up, bro. I'm in Stockholm. That's where I'm. Värmdö. Värmdö. Yeah, I mean, people think you're a lunatic. I think, or not a lunatic, but they don't truly believe in you. I don't think, which is fair because you really gotta show it's a lifestyle, right? But just being able to talk, show setups, discuss setups, it would be so cool. I think to just live with a bunch of other traders. I did kind of that with other. Come on, bro. It's like 30 minutes. Uh, yeah, because yeah, I know. So it would be really cool, I think, to live with some other traders. So in April, my goal is to beast with this channel for like 3 months, build up a community, and in April go to like Asia, Africa, honestly, South America, wherever, and just life max. Like I think that would be really good life. So that's the plan. Where you from in Stockholm, then, bro? Central. Well, you might be right about that, mate. Mm. Where you from, Classify? France. Good stuff. Met a very, very good French girl when I was in Australia, but she had a boyfriend. Knife to my heart. I am down, to be honest. I've just been stacking my money. Yeah, bro. I mean, and the funny thing is, you're gonna make more. You're gonna be healthier. Like, or that's at least for me. You're gonna be happier just because of the social boost. I don't. So it would be really cool to go. My plan is April, and, and let's see if we can make it happen. Yeah, but I like France. Only thing I'm annoyed at, many people can't speak English. Like many of you cannot speak English good, which is very annoying. But it's like makes it worth learning French, I think. So I'm try to fix my camera. I'm in solo. But yeah, yeah, Tank. Let's meet up. Uh, would be really cool. I mean, it's you don't meet too many. I hang out with people that want to party and thinks that's a good job. Yeah, I mean, no, it's true. It's true. What's your goal once you get the money? What do you want to do? Barbershop. Alright. Mm, gotta add a comment. Right. No, I don't have a Discord. It's like personal. I'm gonna make a school community once I have a couple of people interested. But it's gonna be free. I mean, I want the social of it. Ah, yeah. What's the Discord number? Here's my. I don't know if you can see this one. Legend. I played Clash of Clans with this guy like 2021. My guy wrote to me in December, and he was 473 in the world on Fortnite. Fucking beast, bro. It's pretty cool. Yeah, add my Discord if you want. It's here, Halvaris. Ah, bro, that's why. Oh, that's not. No, that's not my Discord. Right? No, you're not bothering, bro. I genuinely enjoy when people want to learn and ask good questions and like want to improve because I think it just leverages the time I have put in, right? What the quality of life is determined by the people you have in life. So yeah, I want more good people and I get more good people in my life by helping people, I think. So don't apologize. Keep asking. Pay the tank. So I cannot trade ICT. I cannot trade my own. Ah, yeah. Yeah, I respect Dodgy. For sure. I mean, I've kind of. I'll show you what I work a lot with. I work a lot with manipulation, trying to find the engineer liquidity. basically here, just I call this was my first ever video, and I call this crash. Basically, the logic is every time we get these double tops, it's just liquidity engineering, liquidity engineering, liquidity engineering, liquidity engineering, and we can't get the real move until we sweep that liquidity, which is like obvious if you trade ICT. But I haven't really seen anybody visualize it like this, and I think a very common problem is people enter a trade too early and then they get stopped out and then boom, the real move comes. So I think this is a very clear example of it, and I'm trying to visualize this. For example, here in my "we're gonna crash" video, what I suggested is, okay, right now we're engineering a lot of liquidity above this high. So like a lot of people upon seeing this breakdown below are gonna be, okay, we're gonna we're gonna crash. Um, gonna go short, put their stops above there, and possibly even here. And we we I will just anticipate that we will move in sideways, build up liquidity, and the real move can start once we're there. But it helps a lot with bias. I trade with every time frame. I I agree, people overcomplicate it. That's why I'm trying to kind of simplify it, kind of visualize like how liquidity is being engineered. Uh, folk yeah, I mean, I start monthly, to be honest. This is also like something I do a lot with my order blocks, the specific ones. I find the standard deviation is usually highly accurate. For example, this is the order block, standard deviation, and so this would logically be the next higher time frame, major move. But until that, we will need to refill in this order block again, and so that's what I am currently anticipating. 90%. Yeah, bro. People are very zoomed in, very zoomed in. It's he basically said 90% of people are sitting at the 1 minute time frame at 9:30, looking for the first 1 minute fair value gap, and doesn't understand why they fail. But he's very right. Like they don't understand the logic behind the move. You always got to look for when the banks are actually like doing something in the move, trading, like truly positioning. And you'd start doing that on the higher time frame. If you don't understand it on the higher time frame, you won't understand it on the lower time frame. Because essentially all comes down to bias in my eyes. And bias starts on a higher time frame. Like on a weekly, yeah. Mm, tomorrow night, maybe, bro. I don't know. I put it on like because now I was gonna sit and backtest anyways, and so I put it on because I I think I learn better when I'm teaching as well. So maybe if I'm gonna backtest, I might. If I don't, sorry. Yeah, bro. Yeah, optimal trade entry. I haven't really looked into it too much. I tend to just s- study the order flow really. Like I think this was the thing I was gonna backtest today mainly was the lower time frame entry. Like I think, yeah, everything just comes down to bias and understanding the highs and lows. That's what he said, and that's what I was gonna backtest. Like, okay, we have this 4 hour propulsion block. We're gonna want to refill that. The rule is we want liquidity before. What happens when we break down below here? Okay, and there's liquidity, and with that you can just understand the bias, and then it doesn't really matter what entry model you have, right? I could have gone long here. Some people definitely did. That's a valid higher time frame order block. But I was looking at the order blocks down here. because that's my risk appetite, and because of that I missed it. But that's how I learn. Yeah. Would you have taken this as a inverse? TT? Your name is TT now. And classify? How's it been going, by the way? Do you understand a bit more after the mailing? Oh, that's the wrong email. No, you don't. You trade optimal trade entry, not the 1 min from a main model. No? You're more a swing trader? Good stuff, bro. Yeah, once you understand liquidity, like, even better, you're literally gone. It all comes down to that, and then you'll be able to understand bias, and then you'll just, yeah. It, to be honest, some of it is still slightly puzzling to me. Mm. But once you have the bias, like, the last piece of the puzzle I think that I'm really studying right now is the lower time frame entry. I know I trade intraday with futures prop for trade on the 15-minute optimal trade entry ranges. Only on the 1 minute, 4 minute. Okay, how do you do that then? Let me see. I guess you're really good at understanding the ranges. I got the OTE right here. So you would look at this, but then it still comes down like to liquidity and bias. So I barely use the Fibonacci because to me it's always about liquidity, even more than Fibonacci. I would love to see how you do that, because yeah, I think the more people you can learn from, just add bits of the puzzle. That's how you make a really, really good strategy. Yeah, I get that. And yeah, and you're very comfortable about the bias then. How did you know the bias was bearish? If I like so you would basically go short there, stop above there. I mean, because I just want some crazy risk rewards, so that's why I would be like dropping down here. But still, if if I was right with the bias here, that's my I was uncertain about the bias. Uh, I thought we would get the bullish scenario, even though I I, my higher time frame was bearish, but I didn't expect this big one. I thought this one was our 4 hour or our propulsion block, but clearly it wasn't. Crazy rewards with high win. Yeah, bro. No, I'm sure. I'm sure you do. You should. Yeah, I look forward to chatting with you as well. Drop down lower and lower time frame. Yeah, but you don't. Yeah, yeah, I get that. But it's hard. It's hard. I guess you trade with micros then. Yeah, that's what I hope. That's what was logical. I tried to develop the. I'm a very logical person, and I tried to develop this strat, like how what I thought was logical. And I think no, because I was like, yeah, basically I kept seeing these flags, and we would break down below, and we would run above the high of the flag, and then we would keep going lower. And I was like, ah, that makes sense. that makes sense. That's how they do it every time. And so I guess that's what I saw. We're trading 15-minute range and then looking for 1 minute entry. Yeah, I think I think that's a very common theme. Um, but I think it comes down. I I start. Like, I took this trade. This was my best trade of since I got home from Australia. And basically, I saw this as or block one, or block two, or block three. And then we had all this liquidity built up on the 1 minute time frame above. Hope I find it now. Yeah, above this, right? Because we got this trend line breakout, people going long, putting their stops there. Got this double bottom, people going long, stops there, right? And so I was kind of on the 1 minute, anticipating, yep, this is where the liquidity is going to be swept. After that, my confirmation is, and go back to this with 1 minute order blocks, it's really high hit rate, I think, really high. But basically, this becomes an order block because that people go short, put their stops below there, stops get run, wick above, validate. And why it's so good is because it's a place where we anticipate to turn around a 15-minute. But basically, from the 15-minute, I base it all, and then I just use the 1 minute order block as the entry, and I hold it until the standard deviation. So I think if you just purely do the analysis on a 15-minute, you have a very clear plan, and the lows you anticipated to be swept. For me, it works, but hey, if your OT works, don't swap. I think I think taking too much advice from other people in trading is it gets hard. You kind of gotta find your own lane, find your own logic. I understand the dues for these stop loss, or at least as if you had this. Yeah, yeah. I'm a visual learner, so I kind of just do it for me, and then I guess it helps with the logic. Yeah, let's finalize the back test. I want to have something to write down. Like when I'm highly confident of the bias, what do we do? When highly bias, I think from the backtest, I think I saw check the M1. No, check the 30-second. Check the 50. Post order block validation. Look for new validation coming from PDA. It can be no worries for it can be a inverse for rally gap or lower time frame order block. Or if you don't get it, check the next. Count the whole move as order block. Check the third wave down, which would be the propulsion block, and see, look for PDA there. If original order block is 15 seconds, 5 seconds is valid. If original is 30 second, 15 second is fine. I think it's reasonable to drop down one. That's a pretty good success for me in the past. Yeah, that's basically what I would do there. I want to see, could we have found an entry here? I mean, this was the 1 minute overlock. I think it's quite, if we get liquidity build up ahead of this one, this could be a very, very nice PDA. But I would like some more liquidity being built up before that. But basically what I would look for then is yeah, bro. Why not? Are they Swedish? Might found a little trading community here. Nice. Let's do it. The more, the merrier. What I'll tell you about one of the best times in my life, and it was when I went to Gothenburg, which is a city in Sweden, and I just lived and grinded and worked for free with some other entrepreneurs who were the same age. And it was because I wanted to try the SMMA because I wasn't profitable in trading it, and the lady in the red dress, right? And I didn't make a penny, but every single morning we would run 8 kilometers to the ocean, swim, and it was in October. Uh, it was cold, very cold, and then we would run to the gym and we work out and we would hop in the sauna and then we just work all day. And I did this shit. I hate video editing, which I hate. I hate that. That's why all my videos are unedited. But I loved, I loved it still because of the community. Living with other people like that, it's the best. It really is. So that's what I'm working for right now. Thank you. I hope we do something similar. I'm running the marathon. Bro. Sorry. It really. I'm very very happy right now. But I'm still working as a substitute teacher, just because I enjoy working with the youth, and I usually get off before the New York Open, and that's how I get the social as well for now. But what I'm working for is to get that trading house. Are you into football? Okay, I'll try to go through the email here if that's all right. Maybe I can show you something good. Uh, yeah, bro. It was very good to meet you, bro. Kul att träffas man. Jag hoppas vi ses IRL nästa vecka. Det hade varit riktigt nice. Men ta hand om dig. Kul att du hängde en stund. Alright. I just said goodbye to bro. To that guy. Okay. Let's check the email. So you said great content usual. Thank you. I'll probably post more charts and more questions. In many of these examples, you're trading E-mini futures. Do you still trade for it? No, I only trade the Nasdaq, but I think it works in both. If I understand correctly, you always look for two main order blocks. The second being the third is the propulsion. So it's order block 1, order block 2, propulsion. That's the one you tend to extend. In this case, on the 4 hour, it should be I think it's 1. And then I think it's no, I think this is 1, to be honest. 1 and then 2 And so we might get like on London a bunch of consolidation. Yeah, no worries. London consolidation, some kind of manipulation up into the like this one, and that could be our propulsion. I'm not sure, 100% sure, but like on the hourly, then it's a different story. Then this is one, like these are parts I'm kind of just finalizing as well. Like this is the 4 hour, but this is the hourly. So which one becomes the propulsion, right? I'm trying to figure that out, but in general, the rule tends to be okay. The higher time frame or lock is the one you want to work with, and so then we will get 1, 2, and then we might get something here. So consolidation, blah blah blah, manipulation down, boom, up, touch that one, explode from there down into. Honestly, we could get one. Let's say we get this, just sweep this low, or to be honest, probably not. I think we probably are gonna sweep just this low, but I'm not sure. Basically, what I'm looking at is we're gonna engineer liquidity here. Buys will be a lot easier once we get a breakout here, but I'll be looking for a breakout below this low. Boom. People going short, stops above all the way up here. Come back up, sweep, probably even this high, then fall down. Yeah, Ron from Sweden. My accent that clear? Keep it up, bro. Thank you, man. Yeah, it was just another Swede here in the chat. I guess maybe that's what you read, but yeah, you from Stockholm as well? Because we're gonna meet up probably next week. Me and the other guy. I'm from Stockholm. Yeah, it's some kind of Swedish community here, which is good. Yeah, you should meet up with me and the other guy. He was also profitable, he said. Yeah, at least you're European and you speak very good English for a Frenchman or woman. I don't know. But, but yeah, you're welcome too, bro. You just gotta get to Stockholm, or when we do the house in Bali, you can join there. I mean, I think that would be really cool. Yeah, you make videos as well, LLZ. Oh yeah, day trader. That's all. Even on the gram. Ooh, I see you. Nice beard, nice jawline, and you making money. Good shit. Yeah, we should meet up if you're down. If you're in Stockholm, or yeah. My goal with this little, yeah, good stuff. My goal with this little vid channel is to find a community of traders because I think trading can be a bit a lonely path. And yeah, the best time of my life was when I lived with some other entrepreneurs, and I like that, but with traders. So I'm just gonna make some content. Yeah, good stuff. What's your strategy? Right, sorry, the emails. Oh shit, I closed it, didn't I? Inverse for Valley Gap, too beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Regular training hours or all time frames or time zones, I guess. Okay. Let me just check these images here. So you're asking, oh, a stacked or block, also known as our propulsion block, indeed. Or block 1, 2. Did we get another fill here? Yeah. It looks like on a very low time frame. I'm not sure this constitutes what we consider a strong liquidity buildup. I mean, to me, this is pretty decent, especially we basically have the breakout and the double bottom first. That would be a strong order block to me. Let's see what happened. Is this the same? Doesn't look like it. Maybe it is. Yeah. But boom, boom, boom. Validated. See, look at that tap there. That's what I would say. 1, 2, 3. And look at the explosion after the third one. So it's 3 in general. If that makes sense. So close above the higher high. Now we have our order block confirmed. Yep. I went back. Yeah, but I does that make sense a bit? I gotta go to bed. But yeah, I hope that made sense. It was a very good stream today, bro. Thanks for always stopping by. You're a legend, man. You I love when I go into my analytics and I see one view, one like, and I just know I know it's you. If what you saw seems great, yeah, you're you're on the right page. Yeah, it's always you. Innit? Like today, I saw one viewer, one like. I'm like, okay, he's back, my man. I appreciate that. But yeah, I think just keep back testing and you'll find it. Just keep seeing these patterns, fake up, boom, sweep that liquidity. That's how you find the bias. Like here, let's see what happens. Let's see the manipulation. Probably manipulation bearish, then bullish, then boom. It's all about just understanding that to to go bearish, we have to manipulate bearish first, then manipulate bullish. That's the game. That's what you want to look. It was a decent setup also here, if I remember right. Right, I took this thing. To be bullish, you have to be bearish. Remember that. So this was what we got. What like we get this breakout here. What do people do? Right? Up on this breakout, where are the stops? Stops below there. Sweep that, and since this was on the 1 minute, we drop down to the 15-second. Look for setups on that time frame. Look for the order block. Okay, very loud and clear here. Double bottom here, almost. No, we didn't get double bottom, I think. Whatever. Clear manipulation. Boom. Sweep the low. That becomes a order block. Order block 1. I drop down into the 5-second here. See if we find it. And then you look for your second one. I don't think I dropped. Well, whatever. I know I took it on this break there. It was just like a very tiny scalp, but, but yeah. I don't know. I feel I'm remembering this one wrong. How I traded this one. Like, yeah, I think I took this entry post that sweep stop below there. So I was kind of shitting my pants when we went down here, but I didn't because I'm mentally resilient. But I mean, it's just super tiny. Uh, like then, yeah, this is what I wanted to show. This is the interesting part. So we got this standard deviation from this order block. I think this was a 1 minute, and that's how you know that this is likely the order block that's being referred to, and it aligned with our bias being like to keep just manipulating shorts here, right? So this order block we're referring to, what do we do once we get there? Since this is a 1 minute order block, looking at a 30-second or 15-second order block to form for us. Or you can work with inverse as well. Up to you. I personally just work with order blocks. I like it more. I didn't take this. I think I thought too bad risk reward. But again, the same logic: order block, and so it's all from May. That's the dilemma I'm having as well. Um, but what I've come to realize, like, if you're highly confident about the bias, then doesn't matter. If you're highly confident the bias is gonna be bullish, like I was right here, then it does, because like look as well how we didn't get a single 5 second uh, order block here besides the top one. I think that's quite interesting because it shows that they're reliable. Ooh, to be honest, that is a bloody order block, isn't it? So I guess that would have been our entry right there. Stop below there. Oh well. But still, I think, could you explain your strategy more? Yeah, basically I find where liquidity is engineered, and I I'll show you an example. It was very good yesterday. So we get this pattern, right? And we have this 4 hour break propulsion block or order block that we anticipate to be filled, right? And so what needs to happen? What happens when we get this bearish breakout? What do retail do? We go short. They go short and they put their stops above there. And so if you always have in your mindset that the pattern breakouts are like fake outs, right? Then it becomes a lot easier with the bias. So pattern, breakout. Okay, now liquidity is engineered for this order block. We're gonna draw up towards this order block. We can't make this move up before we get this fake out below, because this fake out is what engineers the liquidity. And basically you just use that framework to help you find the bias. And then when you're highly confident about the bias, like I was there, you want to look for the 1 minute order block, ideally. We didn't get this here, and that's why I made this stream, because I wanted to backtest even more. I'll show you another good example of a trade I did take that I've probably shown a couple times now, but hey, you can't study range high. Not sure. Let me just show this example. So in this case, we had 3 order blocks, which is ideal. So why are these order blocks? Look at the order flow. What happens every single time we get the breakouts? Breakout, people go long. Breakout above that high, people go long. Stops below here, right? And so we go down and we sweep that. Now, every single time we get these fake breakouts, we get it here again. Liquidity is being engineered so the smart money can buy out their positions. And we get it here again, right? Breakout above this high. What happens? People put their stops below there. So breakout, stops. Sweep those stops, boom. Order block validated. So this whole thing becomes the order block. Now, for the third order block, we're going to see it again. But this is where we want to find our entry. The third order block is where you find the high likelihood position. So let's drop down into the 1 minute, and I'll show you on lower time frame how liquidity is being engineered and how we couple that with the 15-minute order block. So we anticipate this to be a 15-minute order block, and we know this is order block. And so what do we look for? We look for an order block from the order block, post sweeping liquidity in the order block. I'll say that again. We want order block, this thing we have to the left. We want liquidity above or within that order block. We want to sweep that liquidity. We want a M1 order block from there. We want to hold until M15 standard deviation is hit. And now, what's going to happen here? We get this trend line breakout here. What happens there? People go long. You're wrong. So people go long here, double bottom. Breakout again. What happens? People go long. I'll visualize it. Breakout. Long. Retail put their stops there. Another breakout. What happens? People put their stops below there. A double bottom. What happens? People put their stops below there. So every single move here is engineered liquidity. That's what you want. And what many traders do is they're right with a bias, but they get stopped out too early. And that's a big issue. But with this strategy, I think you kind of eliminate that issue in many times because you realize, okay, liquidity has to be built up intentionally. Like it's intentionally built up here. Fake breakout, fake breakout, fake breakout bullish before it's swept. Right? So that's what you want to look for. And then do the same in 1 minute. Why is this a 1 minute order block? I'll show you here, buddy. So you anticipate the sweep. And then you want the same before 1 minute. So you get this internal range high, drop down, double bottom, sweep the high. What does retail do here? Go long. Break of structure, right? No. Stops being taken. And then validation upon sweeping the top of that new order block. Sweep the top of that order block and boom. That's your entry. And how long do you hold it? What does it say here? We want to hold until M15 standard deviation is hit. And this is our propulsion block. So that's the order block we extend from. And as you can see, that's where we want to move. And I'll show you multiple examples of this because if you just nail this, it'll help you with bias. It'll help you with when to kind of go over your trade. So last crash, my first ever video called this crash. Where do we turn around? Last order block of the 2022 crash. Where do we get our top? Right there. COVID crash. Where do we get our top? Right there. And with this, standard deviation, what you want to look for once it reaches this, you kind of want to see it like, okay, it's gonna start manipulating. That's what we anticipate, right? That's what we get here. That's what we get here. Right now, we're having it here as well, some kind. That's why I anticipate a minor drop, not super big one, but probably at least down 10%, something like that. Because smart money can't buy without the real move. What's going on here? All this, what did I just say? All these breakouts, all these equalize, it's intentionally engineering people to go long. That's also why we really want to see a fake out above there before, because engineers even more liquid. Let's drop down, show some standard deviation examples on a lower time frame as well. Can look at this just yesterday. Find a whole move, standard deviation. Where do we get our retrace? Where's our bounce? Right there. Next one. This one was good. Where do we get our bounce? Crazy, huh? This one, there should be one, I think. Get the bounce. The rule is no close below. We get the order block from the standard deviation, so we just close it below afterwards, but not before. See how it wicks below? That's acceptable. Just can't close. Next one should be, I think this one here. It's a very ugly one, but I think it's the order block it's referring to right now because of its its nature. And so it'll be interesting to see how we bounce here. I definitely think I remember what I told you about, like we hit the order block, what can happen? Well, usually it will come back down and then sweep the internal range high. Then it'll just like no, no close below, and then it will just beast below it. So that's probably what's gonna happen. But yeah, here again, I think on the 4 hour we even got it respect all the way. But I mean, the standard deviation is everywhere. Yeah, like trap trading. I I look at, well, like retail pattern trading sheet. I look at these, try to put myself in their minds, like, okay, what would they think here? And then I try to use that to understand the engineer liquidity and when smart money is gonna do the real move. And then I just scale it down from the 50-minute to the 1 minute, from the 1 minute to the 5 second, like, and try to find some ridiculous reward setups of doing that. It was another very nice setup right here. So we had this as our order block. Rule is find the order block, find liquidity from within, find the lower time frame order block from the higher time frame order block, which we got there. This is a 1 minute order block. Why? Because it breaks the internal range low. So boom, sweep below, sweep high is there. And then what I want to like truly perfect is, can I find an even lower? Because this would be a big stop to me. It's a decent stop, but kind of too big. And so what I would want to look for is, can we drop that down, take it even further? Can we take it to a 15-second chart? Can we find an order block from the order block on a 15-second? Do we squeeze this high? Oh, no. That's order block. Can we take it even further? Can we take this as like a 5-second one, right? I think that's a next step for me, especially when I'm hyper confident about the bias. But basically what that does is it just drastically reduces. But at the same time, it can mess you up looking at those super, super tiny time frames. I think I was in a trade. Yeah, definitely, because you need the bias. I mean, lower time frame order blocks are useless unless you know the bias. And the only way to find the bias is from the higher time frame. And how do I tend to find the bias? Well, I discussed it a bit in my "We're Gonna Crash" video, where I thought we were bearish. And basically the logic is, once we're gonna get bias will be clear once we get this breakout, but let's say we get this breakout below here. What is everyone thinking then? Shit, we're gonna crash. I'm gonna short. Boom. We broke down below this trend line and this low, like we're done. And so that makes people go short. And with that, you can then utilize that, okay, our high time frame now, because everyone is gonna be short, our bias is gonna be long. Right? And so with that, you base your bias. They drop down to 4 hour. Okay, we have a 4 hour order block here. We have a 1 hour order block here, right? And so you kind of base your bias of that. And in this instance, this is our higher time frame order block. This high should be safe. What do we look for then within this? Liquidity within. Do we have that? No. So what's likely then? In general, you'll see some consolidation within the order block, just like it was out of this third order block that I showed you, right? You saw how it was consolidating within this second order block for very long. Yeah, that's because sometimes if the validation is too fast, it has to build up its own liquidity within. But, but yeah, right now, what is it doing? It's got a double top and is broken down below these. So what is it intentionally doing that? What is retail doing? Come on, give it to me. Yeah, they're selling. And so what does that engineer? Stops. My man, right? That's the logic. Same thing here. Break down below. What does it engineer? Stops. And that's the game. That's how you know when you see that intentional selling, you can know when the real move is about to begin. And yeah, even on Tesla, I remember like this is our higher time frame. Bias could, and we got this little flag here. And again, the real move doesn't start until we sweep that low. And so we know the stops are below there because we got this double bottom there, double bottom, like double bottom, break up below, right? Everybody has their stop there. Barely anyone has their stops all the way down there. So it's no reason for smart money to sweep that. Does the wick count breaking the low? Yeah, in terms of sweeping liquidity, for sure. And yeah, and engineering liquidity as well. Because people trade based on a breakout. Break the flag, that's a breakout. People go short there. Um, right. This was like the definition of an A plus setup, if you ask me. Super, super clear that all the liquidity is below there. Even down here, we get like 1, 2, boom. This was their earnings report. Bad, bad, right? Sweep that, and then that would have been a swing trade entry. Or if you're super skilled, you got some big balls, you look even here. That's a big stop. That's why I don't like that. So I would look for like a 4 hour here. But if you want daily, you want a swing trade, that's what you look for. But that's a big stop. No, no bueno. You could also look for 4 hour order block from that one, or a daily order block from that one. Get it here. Yeah, it's everywhere. Oh yeah. So intermediate term high. Good question. What is an intermediate term high? An intermediate term high is any high that has a lower high to the left and a lower high to the right. So it's when it's it sticks out, right? It's the one at the top. Um, like this is not an internal range high because this one is higher. It has one that's higher to the right, but this one is an internal range high because it has lower high to the left, lower high to the right. I hope that answers the question. It's in ICT 2022. You could check out this AI ICT index for like it's pretty good at covering certain words, stuff like that. Basically, you can basically ask it, and it'll link to a video where it discusses that specific thing. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so Tessie, right now we're in this ore block. Gonna about to sweep this liquidity within. In times when we're kind of anticipating bearish bias, it's super important that you get the lower time frame or block from this mover. So probably not super good setup, but you'll have to see. If we engineer a bunch of liquidity, boom, figure up, people go long, and then sweep those people who go longs stops. Sweep those and then get that new high validated. I mean, it's a decent risk reward. So yeah, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. I'm gonna go to bed now, but I really appreciate you guys spending so much time with me. And yeah, we'll talk. If not tomorrow, then on Monday. Yeah, Crypto Man. You watch the videos? Thank you, bro. Bro, I appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. I'm uh, I'm just restarting the channel. I didn't post for many months, and now I'm back, and I'm gonna do live trading, and we're gonna make some cash together. We had some good trades last week, but also missed some very good trades that we can learn from. But overall, that's positive week. Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that, bro. But yeah, right. Sorry, new person who joined. The stream is ending just now, but uh, live trading next week. Had some very good trades this week, and I think next week is gonna be even better because bias is even more clear now. I mean, last week wasn't too beautiful in terms of price action. Yeah, bro. All right. I wish you all the best. I wish you a good night, uh, and we will talk soon. Yeah, it helps me as well, to be honest. So I'm gonna keep doing it. Yeah, you gotta lose to win. It's the game. Just keep the losses very tiny and the wins really big. That's how I try to play it. But yeah, appreciate all of you coming by. Um, boom, live stream tomorrow or live trading next week, and we're gonna keep making money like we did last week. All the best. Peace. That was fucking cringe.